Michael Bisping opens up on horrific eye injury and why maybe that was God paying me back. London, newly inducted UFC Hall of Famer's career achievements were impressive enough to earn him a spot among the sport's all-time greats at this month's induction ceremony in Las Vegas. But even more the former UFC middleweight champion was in town to promote the launch of his new book, Quitters. Still fresh at the start of a whistle-stop press tour in England's capital, Bisping was in a relaxed mood. And in one case, around 5 minutes into our chat, I brought up the tricky topic of his eye injury, suffered at the hands and feet of Vitor Belfort back in 2013. It left Bisping with, it was an open secret that Bisping's right eye was in a bad way following that fight, but just how bad was it through the remainder of his career? Well, does. Bisping laughed as I half laughed, while trying not to vomit. But behind his laugh, my
raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot bar. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that.